Welcome, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mayor and I with me, Lindsay Khan, and Nick Buckley, MBE, man with a mission.
Yep.
And since our last Mayor and I podcast, Nick, you've gone from 5,000 to 5,100 subscribers, which is
When I looked before, it was 5,140.
really,
Yeah.
that is fantastic.
People think it's small increments. It's not. You get a big jump, you get nothing for months,
Yeah,
and then you get another big. It's when a video takes off, you get a big jump, and then if nothing takes off for a couple of weeks, you get nothing,
Yeah.
and then you get another jump.
anyway, your message is getting out there.
It is.
And it's great. We talked in the last this is podcast number 31.
Yeah.
We talked in the last podcast about the tragic killings in Southport of those 3 little girls, and we went into a lot of detail there, and that's still very raw and hot. But I want to talk about, I mean, Keir Starmer turned up, as we talked about, and just as you said, looked ineffectual, pathetic, and tried to blame it on knife crime. Now, about 3 or 4 episodes of this ago, I actually said I had some optimism about the Labour Party.
Yeah.
I want to kind of talk about that now.
And I remember saying to you, give it a year,
Yeah.
and we'll be saying on this podcast, do you remember how good the Tories were compared to this shambles?
Well, I've given it a month, and there was an article in the Telegraph, and I kind of looked at it and I thought, God, you're right. And so 1 month in, what have Labour given us? And you might be add to this list. They're freeing violent offenders.
Yep.
They are allowing men to compete in women's sports. The new Culture Secretary says she doesn't have a problem with that. They're giving illegal migrants amnesty.
Yep.
They're giving 11 billion in aid to foreign governments to help them with climate change.
Yes, they are.
And at the same time as they give the 11 billion in aid to foreign governments to assist them in their climate change actions, they have removed the winter hardship grant for certain pensioners as well. So, in summary,
can I add one?
Go on, add one, yeah.
And they are removing the free speech law for universities.
And that's a big one.
Yeah.
I know Toby Young's is really angry about that. So basically, the shit.
Yeah, but we knew that. The question is...
I'm upset, Nick, because I thought they were okay.
No, the question is, we knew they were going to be shit. The question is, will their shitness damage the country any quicker than the Tories' shitness over 14 years?
Well, that's a very interesting point, because when we talked about the Southport incident and Starmer turned up pathetically with his little bunch of roses or whatever it was, you said to me, oh, this isn't their fault, this is the previous government. But my argument to you I think they're the same government.
Oh, they are.
I think that the Labour government basically endorsed, condoned, supported everything the Tories did over their 15 years or whatever, 11 years or whatever they were in. And I think they're just simply carrying on something that and we saw that specifically, I think, during COVID. You know, the Labour government is meant to be always meant to be in opposition.
Yeah.
COVID, the horrific things that happened, the lockdowns, the way people were treated, the economy destroyed, you know, old people killed in en masse in nursing homes. That was all condoned and supported. And I remember Starmer
Not only was it supported by the Labour Party, they wanted it harder, stronger and faster.
Correct, yeah.
They wanted the government to go further
Yeah.
on all those things.
Yeah. And I think you're right. That sums up the Labour government, the Labour opposition. They wanted to go in harder than the Tories were going in on all the things that the grotty Tories introduced. So I hold Starmer as culpable for Southport as I do the previous government, basically.
I hold Parliament, the whole of Parliament, responsible for that. The reason why I keep emphasising they've only been in power 4 weeks, it was a Tory government, is because if we're not careful, I'm seeing it already, there's a narrative starting now that look how bad things are under Labour. It's all Labour's fault. If only we could get Tories again. And it's like, no, you need to understand. This isn't Labour government. This is 14 years. This is like, 15 years of New Labour, 14 years of the Tories, and we've got 5-6 weeks now of a Labour government. Stop thinking swapping to the other party is going to solve all our problems. That's why I keep emphasising to make sure we don't go back to that flip-flop where people 2 years from now go, yeah, I'm voting Tory again because we've got to get rid of... No. Getting rid of this shit and replacing it with that shit isn't the answer.
Yes, correct. I agree. And as we've always said, you know, that for me, Labour and the Tories are two cheeks of the same arse.
Yeah.
Sorry, so my succinct summary of Labour in the first month is shit. Would you agree with that? Or have you got a more nuanced view on what's happened in the first month with them?
I think that they're doing as badly as I expected.
So you're not disappointed, at least?
I'm not, because I expect them to be horrendous.
Yeah.
They are doing... What's happening is what I predicted, as in they're not popular. They're not popular with their own supporters. No, they're cancelling the winter allowance for pensioners, winter fuel allowance. No, they're doing... The left wing of the Labour Party criticise them already. They've done one or two things that people think are good, such as they've ended the doctor strike. Well, yeah, that's great. 20% pay rise.
Yes.
Let's see who comes out of the woodwork now for pay rises.
Oh yeah, it's happening already. The GPs are talking about it, aren't they?
Why? So they've just settled also teachers and other NHS workers have settled that first of 5.5%. If you're a teacher or an NHS worker now and a doctor has just got 20%, are you speaking to your union going, I want 20%. They've given them 20%.
Yeah.
The next few years, there's going to be nothing but industrial action. And once it starts and is successful in the public sector, it doesn't take long for the private sector then to go,
correct.
They're all getting 10, 20% pay rises.
Yeah.
I'm on 2.5% pay rise if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
And we're in for strikes over the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah. And it seems there that Labour seems to be going, oh, we'll right the wrongs of the Tories, so we'll sort out all these pay things. But of course, you're right. As soon as you give a 20% pay rise to one government department, the other ones are going to follow suit.
And I don't blame them for wanting it.
No, it's human behaviour.
Why are they deserving 20%?
Yeah.
But I'm not. I empty bins.
Yeah.
I process passports. I make sure that the system... I'm just as valuable as junior doctors. And, yeah.
So I've gone from optimism to shit. You've gone from shit to shit, basically.
Yeah.
You kind of...
So I think it's all too... I think it's going to be a good year before we can really judge this Labour government.
Yeah. Well, we'll meet in a year. Interestingly, my wife keeps saying to me exactly what you just said, or you were commenting on, which is that, but you know, it'll be so much. They're so much worse than the Tories. But I made the point to her that this 11 billion in aid to foreign countries to assist in climate change was actually instigated by Boris Johnson.
Yes.
All they're doing is saying, this was started by Boris. We agree, and we're going to endorse it.
Yeah.
And do they not see? This is the bit when I heard that, because I think that was announced on the same day. Do they not see the dislocation, and also how people might be angry when they announce that they're going to £11 billion to foreign countries, which will not be used, by the way, for climate change benefit. God knows where they'll
fraud.
go. Yeah,
frauds and mini wars.
Yeah. So they're going to give 11 billion, and then they're turning around to our pensioners and saying, and I'm nearly a pensioner, and saying, we're not going to give you your winter fuel allowance. And more people die of cold than die of heat on a day like this. Yeah.
See, what they're doing is they're balancing several things, several plates of spinning here. They want to be elected again in 5 years' time. But just appealing to the average voter isn't enough. They've got to keep their base. So their base will want some far left policies. A lot of those MPs have to be internally elected to stand in that seat. So they've got to keep their supporters in those areas happy. It's every politician MP is constantly spinning 3, 4, 5 different plates. And you've got to keep them all spinning because I'll lose some votes there, but I'm gaining votes there. But if they all fall down, I'm not being elected. So they're playing politics. They're trying to give people enough to vote for them, but also trying to do enough for their core to vote for them, trying to do enough where they look competent. And let's be honest, this is what all governments do. And some governments can pull it off for 1 or 2 election cycles, but it always comes crashing down. And some governments can't even pull it off for 1 election cycle. They're just playing politics.
I noticed when we saw Starmer at the Southport Memorial, he looked tired. He looked knackered.
Well, you look at pictures of Tony Blair getting into office at 40, whatever he was, and you look at him at the next election in when he was 45. He aged 10 years in 5 years.
Yeah.
The pressure, the stress. People think it'll be easy being Prime Minister. You've got all the power. You've got hardly any power. And you're constantly trying to appease everybody. It's this is a complicated machine with so many multi-moving parts. It ages you.
But what I always think when
Look what it's done to Biden.
Yes, that's true. But I always think when I see that, and I think, oh, he's obviously under massive... but how he's under massive stress and pressure, but doing such a shit job at the same time. It's not like he's under pressure because he's doing a fantastic job. He's under pressure.
But he would argue, this is the best anyone can do in my position. I've not got a rebellion yet. I've had to quash a rebellion. I've had to sack 6 Labour MPs for 6 months. They've been sacked for 6 months. Some of them might not come back if they rebel again. He's got this, he's got that. He's had 2 riots. What normally kills them is outside events. Things you didn't see coming,
like
such as the riots and stuff like that. That goes nationwide. It could be the end of him. COVID killed Trump. It's these outside things. You can control and manipulate and use propaganda for things you can see that are coming down the road.
Yeah.
It's when things hit you didn't even see that coming.
But they're nudging already, aren't they? They're nudging us, this terminology, psychology. Yeah. They're nudging us with all sorts of things at the moment. Now, I'm going to talk about one thing they're talking about, which is that the Culture Secretary has said, and I think Lisa Nandy said as well, that men can play in women's sports. Have you seen this?
Yeah, she said. Yeah, men can.
Who was it? Who said
it? Was Lisa Nandy. She hasn't got a problem with trans women playing in female sports. It's down to the governing bodies.
Yes. And
she thinks they've got it about right.
Yeah.
That was almost worth.
So I want to segue from that into something which I'm sure you didn't see. I hope you didn't watch. So in the Olympics, which are on at the moment in Paris, by the way, which nobody's going to. So
who cares?
No,
I've never watched Olympics.
Well, I did when I was younger, and I used to love the Olympics. But it's just, I'm not even interested in the Olympics. However, this thing about men, they've got a man boxing women.
2 men.
Is it 2 men?
It's 2 men.
So there's 2 tranny men in the Olympics fighting women and battering the hell out of them, Nick. Battering the hell out of them.
And do you know who's to blame for that?
Theresa May?
No. Those female boxers.
Oh yeah, you did something on this, didn't you?
We need to tell the truth.
Right, go on.
Female boxers are to blame for having
listeners. This is interesting because there's video footage of a man beating up a woman, and the person responsible, you'll be pleased to know, according to Mr. Buckley, is the woman.
Yeah, because those women are stepping in that ring knowing it's a man.
Yeah.
And they are competing in something they already know. Those women are to blame. If those female boxers all said, no, this is
they should.
And that's the whole point I'm trying to make. If they said, no, this is wrong.
Yeah, but the thing
and we're not fighting.
Yeah, can I just say though, these are human beings.
Yeah.
And these women have trained.
Weak and pathetic women. Just like we have weak and pathetic men, those women are weak and pathetic. They are willing to...
I don't think they are. No,
they're willing to sacrifice themselves and their sport and future women just because they want to fight and be part of the Olympics.
Yeah, but
they're called cowards.
Yes, but you're expecting too much of people, Nick.
No.
People are human beings. These women have trained for years to get to the Olympics. They've been selected for the Olympics by their country. They're proud for that. They want to win. They want to compete. Now, in the middle of all that, an obstacle has been thrown in their way, which is the fact some bloke with balls has ended up in the ring and is able to fight them.
I would argue this hasn't just been thrown, this obstacle has just been thrown at them. This has been going on for 10, 20 years. The last Olympics, we had a male weightlifting guy.
The New Zealand guy, yeah.
In all their amateur clubs, there'll be men boxing women. These women could have made a stance over the last 10, 15, 20 years at any point, and they should have done it at the very beginning, and this never would have been an issue.
There are some. I mean, is it Riley Gaines in America?
Yeah, some have. But they are in single figures.
Yes.
If every female boxer says, no, it's not happening in my watch, and I'll sacrifice my career, my dreams, because you know what? I'm doing it for the betterment of women's sports. But they don't do that because they're all self-centred and selfish. And men, sports people, are just the same.
Yeah.
So they need to take some responsibility. If a woman says, I'm willing to fight a man because it's equality, well, you get as many equal lefts as you'll get as many equal rights. So they're doing it knowingly. Yeah. So I've no sympathy for them. The time for this to end was years ago when none of them took a stand. And it's one more point. It's even worse than that. Because all these women, sports people, then jump on the podiums with the men and make a stance and celebrate and hold their medals and hug them and cheer and clap. Most of these women are complicit in their own destruction. I blame female sporting people for this.
But do you agree with the spectacle of a man beating up a woman in the ring? You don't agree with that?
Turns my stomach.
Yeah.
But if those women... But I'm also for freedom of choice and freedom for personal responsibility. If those women choose that, who am I to say you shouldn't do that?
And they have chosen it because they know they know when they're getting in the ring, they're fighting a man.
A man.
Yeah. And you actually watch the man. I think I did actually watch your video on this. He actually has the gait and the stance of a man. He stands
because he's a man. He don't turn up in fucking high heels in the tutu. Come on, darling. It's a fucking man.
Now, thank you. I think that's a good heading for that section of the so I also watched snippets of the Olympic opening ceremony, and I thought it was fabulous, Nick. What did you think?
I didn't watch any of it.
And for our gentle listeners, I don't know if they saw it, but I don't know if you're aware of what happened.
I'm aware. I didn't watch any of it. So we've got some blue Smurf. And they were taking the mickey out of the Last Supper with some fat woman, and it was all woke nonsense. It was all queer theory, and queer theory is all about breaking down societal norms. So we expect the Last Supper to be men at a dinner with Christ. So they broke it all down with gay people, and one of the guys stood behind, who was supposed to be Christ, had his bollocks out. His shorts are pulled up tight. I'm not sure if it's on purpose or not, but his bollocks are to the side. And
of course it's on purpose.
Yeah, it's just all
and there's children there, aren't there?
Yeah. It was horrendous.
Why did they do that? Have you got any idea why?
Because...
I mean, thankfully it absolutely pissed it down on the day. And it was a very damp affair. But it was populated by drag queens, obese people, deliberately obese people, insults to Christianity, sexual themes when children were there. You're right, a naked guy dressed as a Smurf. I think it was meant to be some sort of god of some sort of fertility god or something, but basically naked except for a little, So why did they do that?
Because arty-farty people are all left-wing, are also trying to use art as political statements, and that's what you get.
And they all back each other up, don't they? In the mainstream media, the artistic.
Well, let me say, I don't care.
Yeah.
The Olympics can do what they want. I don't watch Olympics. I don't care about the Olympics. The Olympics should either be disbanded or recreated, because it's not amateur sports. I know they're all professionals, but then these ones can't. How have we got the Scottish tennis player, Andy Murray, playing in the Olympics in tennis? If you want to know who a professional is, look at Andy Murray. He's made millions.
Yeah, but they broke that down, didn't they? I don't think that professional thing is anymore. It's meant to be the best in the world at the Olympics.
Well, why don't we have top boxers? Once you've gone professional in boxing, you can't box Olympics anymore. So there's just so many inconsistencies.
Yes.
The whole thing needs revamping.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's professionals or amateurs. I don't care. The whole thing is failing I don't know if numbers are going down.
They must be going down.
You would imagine so.
Apparently, lots of the hotels in Paris are empty.
Yeah.
And the people aren't going.
Well, that's because the people can't get to the hotel because they're being raped in parks and murdered. So hotels are reporting 9 people didn't turn up. Yeah, well, look in the park, they're dead.
There have been lots of attacks on the
Yes,
underground.
there have.
And again, we've talked about Paris, and I said a friend of mine had been there, and there's a big issue there with immigration in Paris.
70% of all rapes in Paris are by foreigners.
Yes. Oh yeah, we have actually covered
That
this
video
before.
took off that we did.
We'll come back to England now, and something that a man I've never liked, and he was arrested. Sorry, he wasn't arrested. He was taken off the BBC. Hugh Edwards. He was taken off the BBC, and we found out last week that he'd been given a pay rise, even though he's been suspended now for. So sorry for the listeners. The reason he was suspended is that they found pictures. He sent pictures of himself with his bottom showing to a young man, underage man or whatever it was, basically.
It was like a 17-year-old.
Yeah, so I mean, totally inappropriate.
A 17-year-old who he was giving money to.
Yes.
And the 17-year-old's parents had been telling Hugh, stop sending him money because he's a drug addict.
Yes.
And every time you give him money, it makes things worse.
Yeah.
We can't get him help. And that's why he was suspended, because then it was also presumed at the time he was giving him money for sexual favours, but we didn't know any of that. We were just presuming that.
So this freaky man who's my age, who was who presided over the Queen's funeral,
number 1 top highest paid news presenter at the BBC.
His level of intelligence is such that he thinks it's okay to send pictures of his bottom to a 17-year-old man and send him money. Yeah. But however, despite that, many personalities and public figures came out in his defence.
Yeah, like Jimmy Savile.
Just like Jimmy Savile, citing mental illness, he's a good bloke, blah, 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 stress or whatever. John Sopel in particular, who you may know, he's a news presenter, was very vociferous in his support of Hugh Edwards. Hugh Edwards was arrested last week. So he was given a pay rise. So he's been suspended over a year, given a pay rise, even though he's suspended. Then last week, he was arrested for possessing 41 images, indecent images of children, including, I think it said 3 category A for a 6 or 7 year old. God knows, I dread to even think what that poor.
I read today that one of the pictures was of a 7-year-old.
Yes, yeah, but it was,
so we're not talking about this necessarily this 17-year-old.
Oh, no. These are young children.
The law's a bit different here, so people can understand it. It's you cannot have sex with someone under the age of 16. You cannot take naked photos of someone under the age of 18.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, that catches a lot of people
out. I'm just concerned that you know this.
That's because I've spent 20 years fighting child sex exploitation.
Oh right, okay, fine, that's good. That's interesting. So you can't have sex with somebody over 16, but you can't take a naked picture of somebody under 18.
Yes.
That's very strange.
Under 18 is classic child pornography.
Yeah. So this guy, he's pleaded guilty to this today. So this is not speculation, by the way. So this is he's pleaded guilty. So he is guilty. He's done it or whatever.
His wife's left him now.
Yeah, his wife. Oh, that was good of her. Now.
Yeah, yesterday. She left him yesterday.
Yeah. So these grubby people.
BBC again, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're better than you.
Yeah.
You need to listen to us.
Yeah.
When it comes to morality, we're the authority in this country.
Yeah.
You need to listen to us. Embrace all this LGBTQ plus shit.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with paedophile.
Yeah.
Unless it's about me, in which case I want 7-year-old naked photos of boys on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm paying 17-year-old drug addicts for sex.
Yeah.
So that's okay when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But LGBTQ plus has got nothing to do with paedophilia. Drag artists have got nothing to do with child offences and sexual offences against children. It's not about grooming children.
Yeah.
But apart from me, I'm a groomer.
Yeah.
I'm a child paedophile.
Yeah.
And we've had it so many times with the BBC and ITV with Phil Schofield.
Yes.
Inappropriate behaviour with a 17-year-old runner on the show and stuff like that.
What the hell's wrong with these people?
These people, well, it's not that what these people do, because that is wrong, but it's the fact they think they're above the law, that they're better than us. I can talk about how wrong bombing Ukraine is while I'm buggering a 17-year-old boy that I'm paying for. It's like, you have no morality. And the BBC need to understand that we don't trust them anymore. For decades, especially now. Stop lecturing us, because a lot of the people that work for you are perverts, are corrupt, are woke, but are also paedophiles. And you keep saying, no, we're not. But every time you say, no, we're not, another one of your stars comes out and is a paedophile.
And it's just rife, isn't it, with these people, these grubby people. But worse than that, we've got to pay for them, Nick. Well, I don't now, because I don't pay.
Well, that's the worst bit, is we're paying for them.
Yeah, we're paying, and people are being sent to jail who are not paying the TV licence.
Yeah.
Can you freaking blame them?
No.
When you've got these people at the heart of and being given pay rises.
Because they feel untouchable.
Yeah.
They know the BBC loves me. Hence, I'm not... footballer that we hate, commentator, used to be Walker's Crisps.
Gary Lineker.
I'm
actually starting to look at him favourably.
Yeah, well, Lineker's not a paedophile or a sex, whatever, as far as we know.
That's very good of you to say.
So he's not.
I agree.
But the reason why he gets away with what he gets away with, being political, is I'm untouchable. The BBC need me.
Yeah.
I'm the star of their sports presenters. I can do what I want. And when I'm in meetings about my Twitter, I just say to them, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing. So shut up. Let me leave. And that's what people like Hugh Edwards do. I'm your star of your BBC News department. I've been here for decades. I'm the face of the BBC. I'm the face of Britain.
Yeah.
The monarch loves me. I do the funerals. I do the weddings. What are you going to do to me?
Yeah.
Nothing. Shut up. I'm leaving this meeting.
And the point is, you don't have a choice. I mean, your viewers have a choice to look at you, don't they? They look at you based on what you're saying, whether they agree with you or whatever, and they have the right and ability to turn it off, haven't they?
And many do.
Or just leave a comment calling you a fat racist, which is what many of them do as well.
We were called two wise men last week.
Oh, that's good. That's nice.
On the video where it was about Jordan Peterson and Nigel Farage talking, the comment was two wise men talking about another two wise men.
Oh, that's nice.
It was nice.
Thank you very much, whoever wrote that. That's really sweet. You have no choice though, do you? These people become elevated to these positions and they're just telling each other how fantastic they are all the way, and we have no choice in that, do we? But they force it down our throats.
This was one of the lessons the BBC said they learned from Jimmy Savile about having people who are untouchable. Yeah. And they've repeated it all again with this guy.
Yeah.
Lessons should have been learnt.
Is this the end of the BBC? Because you and I disagree on this. I believe that the BBC licence fee should be taken away straight away. You think it's too radical. You want to, but surely now, Nick, come on, you've got to be agreeing with me on this. The BBC needs to be ended.
The BBC will be ended probably by the next government, because Labour won't get in again. I don't think the BBC should be ended as in we destroy it tomorrow. The BBC belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the BBC. It belongs to me and you. We paid for it. We've kept them going. Our parents paid for it. Our grandparents were here when it was created.
I think it was fantastic.
It belongs to us.
Yeah.
What it needs to be now is it needs to be more independent, and it needs to not be funded by the taxpayer. So what we need is, we need to say to them, I've said this before, how many years I don't know, but somewhere between 3 and 6 years, we say to them, you can claim the tax, the TV licence tax, for 3 more years, but at the end of 3 years the tax goes. In those 3 years or 6 years, whatever we think they need, and then you need to be self-sufficient. It needs to be advertisements, it needs to be subscription based. I don't care what model to go down, it needs to be that, and then it sinks or swims.
Well, my views are different. I think it should just be scrapped and closed down. And also, as I said before, I don't even condemn the riots in Southport. I think we need action now. Things need to happen. And Hugh Edwards being arrested with all the grubby personalities supporting him.
Pleaded guilty. So he's not even been arrested. He's pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography.
Which means there's no ambiguity.
No ambiguity.
Yeah, he's done it. I mean, they're just horrific, horrible people. The whole institution is corrupt, riddled with LGBTQ bullshit, critical race theory, all the climate even the climate reporters lie all the time. It's just horrific organisation. It needs to be ended, in my view.
They're horrific because there is no consequences. There is no financial directive for them. That's why we need to give them a financial directive so they can produce stuff that people are willing to buy. At the moment, you're forced to pay for this. So therefore, they haven't got the right incentives. It's not like you get called into the general director's office going, Matt, your last 3 shows were crap and no one watched them. Therefore,
there's no consequences.
You're gone.
Yeah.
We're doing no shows with you again.
Yeah.
It's like, well, do you know what? Yeah, they didn't get any viewers, but we had comments from LGBT supporters.
Yeah, from Stonewall. We've got an award from Stonewall. Saying
this was groundbreaking, so thank you for that. It's just the wrong incentives.
Yeah. We're running out of time, so I just want to end on one thing. It's kind of the same subject, but it's the different way around. And I'll start by just saying, God save Elon Musk. Because, and I know he's a friend of yours, I was chatting with my wife the other day, and I'm not on Twitter, by the way. I'm not on Twitter. But she said something that struck me. I don't think she'd even realised what she was saying when she said it. But she's very avid on Twitter. Yeah. In fact, quite a lot of stuff we discuss, she mentions it, and I'll follow it up. So she's kind of a good researcher for us in terms of stuff that's happening out there. She said, since Elon Musk has taken over Twitter, we're now getting these stories as they happen.
Yeah.
She said, before Elon Musk, we weren't finding out about this stuff. And she was talking about things like the Southport, the Southport killings, all those things, the stories behind it, all that. She's saying we were getting very limited information from Twitter. Stuff was being stopped and suppressed. But since he's taken control of Twitter, which must be now, a couple of years? It must be now.
It's getting close to 2 years. It's not 2 years yet. It's getting close to 2 years.
Since she said suddenly the information is out there again.
It is.
And I didn't realise that. Is that the case?
Yes. 15 months ago, I was still banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
I got banned for 7 months. Indefinite lifetime ban I got. No warnings, never had a strike, never had a complaint. I criticised a female Ukrainian refugee and got an automatic lifetime ban.
Wow.
And then Elon Musk bought Twitter, and
he came here to see you.
He wouldn't do a podcast.
Oh right, yeah. So you sat in here and chatted, and
he's my favourite African American. So I appealed
because he is an African American. Yeah.
So when he started letting people back on the platform, and I waited 4 months until he was getting down to nobodies like me. I appealed and he brought me back on, and then yesterday I hit over 30,000 followers on Twitter.
Congratulations!
So that was a milestone yesterday.
Thank you, Elon Musk.
Thank you, Elon Musk.
But there's a very serious point here, because without Elon Musk, we would not be finding out about lots of things that are happening in this world.
Twitter is so much better than it was 2-3 years ago. Twitter's always been my favourite platform.
Yeah.
Because you can have conversations, you can speak to people who you disagree with, and it's there's rough and tumble, there's insults.
Yeah.
You block people, they block you. I like Twitter, but the conversations that we're having now, the information we're sharing now, is completely different to what we had 2 years ago. Like I said, I got banned for criticising a female Ukrainian refugee who came to the UK, and hence why people's eyes are waiting there, because people now have realised I'm not afraid anymore to have these conversations. I have them on Twitter. When it all got banned off Twitter, people are going, well, that must mean we can't talk about these things. But now you can talk about it on Twitter. People are talking about it in real life.
Great.
He is doing a world of good. He announced, or there was a suggestion yesterday that he announced, he might start up his own version of Google, because he's saying Google is biased.
Yes.
If you Google Trump assassination now, the first couple of pages has nothing about Trump's assassination. And he's going, this isn't right. So he might even start up his own search engine. But no, he's
no Google's biased, so you don't get
exactly.
Lots of stuff you don't get off there.
But again, Google is like YouTube, it's like Apple, it's the go-to. They dominate the market.
Yeah. But did we realise when Google came out, when YouTube, that they would end up being such basically propaganda machines.
No.
Such I don't think everybody was saying what a fantastic thing the internet was.
They're all started by hippies.
Yeah. And now they are controlling us, aren't they? And Twitter is the only beacon in there. That's why I said God save Elon Musk.
Oh, Twitter is a beacon of Western values.
Yeah.
And he sticks up for it all the time. He takes no crap off anybody. You know, it's
and that's why I say God. You know, thank God for him. God save Elon Musk, because who else out there is doing it? There's Peter Thiel, isn't there? Who's another tech billionaire who's supporting Trump. So there are a few billionaires out there who are supporting Trump who are more, but there's not many.
Yeah. Well, supporting Trump for me is neither here nor there. That's politics. That's America. It's people like Trump who invest, his fortune in buying something that's never going to make any money.
Yeah. Musk, you mean, not Trump,
Yeah, Musk. Knowing it's the right thing to do for the world.
Yeah. It's a hell of a thing he's done there.
For the world.
Yeah. I know, that's what I mean.
If he bought it and now he's making millions and billions a year off it, you'd say, clever businessman.
Yeah, but he didn't do it for that.
He did it for the right reasons. He did it for a legacy.
Yeah.
He did it because he wanted to improve the world. That's been so good to him.
I think we've actually found somebody you like, Nick.
Elon Musk, yeah.
That's good. I don't think we've found anybody like that before in your lexicon.
I'm a hard critic. Finally, someone's raised above my bar. Elon Musk.
So I think we'll end on that bombshell, ladies and gentlemen, that Nick actually likes somebody, and that person is Elon Musk. Nick Buckley, very well done.
Cheers, thank you very much. Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers, I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.